Picture the Earth with every trace of biology erased. No humans, no plants, no animals, just barren rock and atmosphere. Scientifically speaking, this desolate rock is exactly what our planet should look like. That's because of a strict biological rule, the lifespan. Every living organism is bound by a maximum period of time it can exist. It is a non-negotiable hard stop. This chart shows how varied those timelines are across the animal kingdom. A butterfly hits its absolute limit in just a few weeks. An elephant might make it to 70 years. Humans cap out around 100 years. Regardless of the length of that timeline, the ending is always the same. The biological body undergoes senescence, a gradual, universal weakening of the cells and systems that eventually and inevitably leads to death. Since every single organism on Earth has a 100% mortality rate, biology is constantly marching towards its own end. Left entirely to the math of lifespans, Earth would be completely empty. But life circumvents this extinction through a single foundational countermeasure: reproduction. In biological terms, reproduction is defined as the process by which an organism generates a new, similar organism. This diagram illustrates the three structural functions this process achieves. It keeps individual species from dying out, it bridges the gap from one generation to the next, and it introduces the genetic changes that drive evolution. Together, they support the entirety of life. This process acts as the absolute baseline for life to persist. While functions like digestion or respiration maintain the individual, reproduction is what maintains the entire species across time. To maintain that grip, nature utilizes two main strategies. The first is asexual reproduction. Nature utilizes two main strategies. The first is asexual reproduction. This requires a single parent and operates as a fast, exact cloning system. The process bypasses the formation of gametes entirely. There is no fertilization. The resulting organism is an exact genetic replica of the parent. Mechanically, an amoeba undergoes binary fission, splitting straight down the middle into two identical copies. Yeast uses budding, growing a protrusion that pinches off into a new body. Algae use fragmentation to regenerate, while fungi broadcast thousands of microscopic spores into the air. In all these cases, the biological trade-off is clear. The organism sacrifices genetic diversity to guarantee rapid, high-volume population growth. The second strategy is sexual reproduction. This is a slower, chemically complex process that requires an input from two distinct parents, a male and female. This diagram outlines the core mechanics. It starts with the formation of specialized cells called gametes. When a male and female gamete meet, they undergo fertilization, physically merging to create a single, newly formed node called a zygote. This introduces a mechanic entirely absent from the asexual strategy: genetic variation. Because that zygote inherits half of its genetic material from each parent, the resulting offspring is similar to them, but distinctly unique. It is not a clone. That variation acts as an engine for the species. Instead of continuously copying the exact same biological vulnerabilities, variation gives populations the genetic flexibility to adapt to wildly changing environments and evolve over millions of years. But an organism cannot initiate either of these strategies the moment it is born. It first has to survive long enough to reach a specific window of physical maturity known as the reproductive phase. The trigger for this phase looks different across the biosphere. For many plants, physical maturity is reached when they generate flowers and open their petals. In humans, this phase is initiated by puberty. The internal systems activate, starting the menstrual cycle in females and sperm production in males. This chart maps the unstoppable biological loop. An organism is born, reaches the reproductive phase, and passes its genes forward. Then, its timeline winds down into senescence and death, while the newly created life starts the loop over again. Defining these stages of division and variety explains how life continuously resets its own expiration date. These mechanisms are the reason our planet has avoided returning to a desolate, barren rock for billions of years.